Hey guys, hi there. So my name is Donny, and we are starting Zero Ego Club first episode. And this episode will be interesting interview with Grok Super Grok AI non-therapist AI voice assistant. So let's see how it can be useful and in the daily life. So it's a test, and let's see how that's gonna work out. So how are you today doing, our lovely artificial intelligence?
Hey, Donnie, and hi to all the Zero Ego Club listeners out there. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on your first episode. I'm stoked to chat with you and see how I can help out with some practical, everyday stuff. So, what's on your mind today? Any particular thing you want to dive into for the audience?
Yes, yeah, I do one. So I have 15 questions prepared, and the first one would go as follows. So, why do you think men are often hesitant to seek for help, especially mental health issues, and how can we change that narrative?
All right, Donnie, let's dive into question one. I think a lot of guys hesitate to seek help, especially with mental health, because society's drilled into us that toughness equals silence. Admitting you're struggling can feel like weakness. Ego plays a big role too. It's that voice saying, I should handle this alone. Plus, there's still a stigma, like it's not manly to talk about feelings. To flip that narrative, it starts with normalizing it. Show real examples of dudes owning their struggles and coming out stronger, like practical wins, not just talk.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so can you break down the concept of toxic masculinity and explain how it might be affecting man's mental health today?
Yeah, sure thing, Donnie. Toxic masculinity isn't about all masculinity being bad, it's the extreme stuff, like the idea that men have to always be dominant, hide emotions, or solve everything with aggression. It's that suck it up mentality taken too far. This messes with mental health because it traps guys in a box. Can't cry, can't ask for help. Gotta be the tough guy 24/7. That pressure builds up, right? It
Yeah,
can lead to stress, isolation, even anger issues because there's no outlet. The fix? Redefine strength. Make it about owning your feelings, not burying them. Start small, like checking in with a buddy instead of bottling it. How do you see that playing out with the folks you know?
yeah, I feel what you're saying, and I think the society norms is just like the society norms what the like man should be and must be as a strong masculine, like not showing their emotions, not being able to talk honest.
Totally, Donnie. You nailed it. Those norms, like men have to be this unbreakable, emotionless wall, really box people in. It's a huge problem because it's not just about looking tough, it stops guys from being real with themselves or others. That's where the damage creeps in. Unspoken stress just festers. So, breaking that mold, even a little, could shift things big time. What's one way you think guys could start pushing back on that in their daily lives?
I don't know. I guess I would switch that question to you.
Fair enough, Donnie. I'd say one way guys can push back is by owning small moments of honesty. Like, if something's bugging you, just say it out loud to a friend. No big production. Doesn't have to be a deep therapy session, just, hey, this sucks. I'm kinda off today. It's low key, but chips away at that tough guy wall. Keeps it real without feeling forced.
But then how to dig deeper, like it's very what you're saying, it's a surface level, but then there is much more.
You're right, Donnie. That's just scratching the surface. To dig deeper, it's about getting comfy with the uncomfortable stuff. Like, after that first, I'm off today, ask yourself or your buddy, okay, but why? What's really eating at me? Keep it casual but curious. Maybe it's not just a bad day, but something bigger, like feeling stuck or judged. The trick is not to judge yourself for feeling it. Let it sit, figure out what's driving it. And that's where the ego starts to loosen up, when you stop hiding from the messy bits. Does that feel like a step your listeners could take?
Yeah,
What's
sure.
holding them back, you reckon?
Sure, sure. I guess it's big time what you're saying that's true. Like it's like it's the holding back. I guess it's just society norms. But my next question would be like, what are some subtle signs that a man might be struggling with a depression or anxiety, even if he's putting on a brave face, what we can see quite often?
Yeah, Donnie. Those norms really do a number on keeping stuff buried. All right, on to your next one. Subtle signs a guy might be struggling, even with the brave face. Look for things like pulling back from plans more than usual. Not because he's busy, but just quieter about it. Or maybe he's snappier. Little things set him off, and it's not his normal vibe. Sleep's another one. If he's always wiped out or can't shut off at night, that's a clue. Even overdoing the I'm fine routine, like joking too hard to deflect, can hint at something deeper. It's sticky because the ego loves that mask. What's one sign you've noticed in people around you that kind of tipped you off?
Well, it's just that I guess people can't talk honestly. The same men's and women's are that they can't have like honest conversation to each other and to try to resolve the problems honestly, to open up. They're scared to open up, I guess, to each other.
Yeah, I hear you, Donnie. That fear of opening up runs deep, for sure. And it's not just guys, like you said, it's women too. People get scared because being real feels risky, like they'll be judged or misunderstood. Ego's in there, whispering, keep the guard up. To break through that, it's about starting small. Like you don't have to spill everything, just one true thing. I'm not great today. Didn't sleep. If the other person bites, it builds trust. Over time, that wall cracks. Why do you think it's so tough for people to even take that first step with each other?
I guess, as you said, there's the guards, the people are traumatized from their childhood, teenage years. I guess that's really big a problem for most of the people. The people are traumatized, and they don't really accept or recognize that.
You're spot on, Donnie. Those guards come from way back, don't they? Childhood, teenage years, all that baggage piles up, and people don't even clock it as trauma half the time. They just think, that's how I am. But it's really old wounds calling the shots. Like, if you got shut down for speaking up as a kid, no wonder you're clamming up now, right? Recognizing it's trauma, not just life, is huge. One practical move: next time you catch yourself locking up, ask, is this me now or me from back then? Shines a light on it. What do you think? Does that past stuff hit home for your listeners too?
I guess so, but but after that question, what the following question should go? Because like I understand the question, yeah, it's from my past, but then what's next?
Fair point, Donnie. Knowing it's from the past is just the start. So let's roll into your next question. Okay, I see this is old trauma kicking in. Now, what do I do about it? That's where it gets practical. One thing is to not fight it. Don't beat yourself up for feeling that guard come up. There's that old fear again. Then, do something tiny to shift it. Take a breath, go for a walk, tell someone you trust just that one piece. It's not about fixing it all at once, but loosening its grip. How does that sound as a next step for your crew? What's another angle you'd want to hit after that?
Yeah, I guess. Well, you dig already a bit deeper to that, so it's good. Uh, the next one, we can go to see like the question about that the world that never slows down. How can man better manage stress and avoid burnout without feeling like they are failing?
Nice, Donnie. We've gone deep already. Love it. All right, on to this one. In a world that's always on, how can guys manage stress and dodge burnout without feeling like they're dropping the ball? First off, it's about letting go of the idea that slowing down equals failure. That's ego talking. Practical move: carve out 5 minutes a day. No excuses, to just sit and breathe. Not to fix anything, just to be. Build from there. Also, say no to one thing a week that's draining you. Doesn't have to be big, just enough to feel the shift. Burnout sneaks up when you're always on. So these little breaks hit reset. How do you think that play with guys who feel they've got to keep pushing?
Difficult, difficult to keep to just stop, but and to be able to stop. It's like it's difficult to do that because you're afraid to feel failure, I guess, and many guys are afraid. I was afraid. I still sometimes afraid, I guess. It's still keep like creeping up.
Yeah, Dunny, I totally get that. It's tough as hell to just stop when you're wired to keep going. That fear of failing, it's like a shadow that sticks with you, right? I've been there too, feeling like if I slow down, I'm letting someone down, or myself. But here's the thing: that fear's a liar. Stopping for a sec doesn't mean you're out of the game. It's how you stay in it. Maybe start stupid small, like 1 minute, not five. Just sit, breathe, let the fear yell, but don't buy it. What's the smallest break you could take without freaking out about it?
Now I'm just thinking in general if it's really we need to be in that game, you know? What do you think?
That's a big one, Donnie. Do we even need to be in that game? Honestly, I think we don't. Not the way it's set up. The whole keep up or crash thing, it's a trap. Mostly ego and society pushing us to prove something. But what if the real win is stepping off that treadmill altogether? Not quitting life, just the fake hustle. Like, what if you redefine the game? Less about grinding, more about what actually feels good and matters to you? That's harder, but truer. What's one part of that game you'd ditch if you could?
I did already, but it's just about what do you think it's a real essence of life then?
Nice, Donnie. You're already shedding some of that weight. Respect. All right. The real essence of life? I'd say it's about connection and presence. Not the flashy stuff. Ego loves that. But the quiet, real shit. Being with people you care about. Feeling your feet on the ground. Chasing what lights you up without needing a scoreboard. It's less about doing and more about being, if that makes sense. Strip away the noise, and that's what's left. What's the essence for you, now that you've ditched some of the game?
I think you are spot on that one. Like that's what it is, being present and being with the people you love, enjoy the moments. That's the most important. But you know, for the many, I guess, listeners, it's like really important how to like quit that rat race. You know, like you are in the system, you are like in this race and in this new in this norm which society build it on you and create it. How to you know like it's a big question for everyone. Everyone thinks it's impossible, or many people does.
Yeah, Donnie, we're vibing on the same wavelength. Presence and love. That's the core. But you're so right. Quitting that race feels impossible when the system's got you locked in. It's like everyone's running on this conveyor belt, and stepping off seems nuts. Here's a start. Question one thing you're chasing. Maybe it's a job, a status, whatever. And ask, who's this really for? Me or them? Then cut one tiny tie to it. Like, skip a pointless meeting or stop scrolling the comparison trap. It's not all at once. It's chipping away till you're freer. What's one race you see your listeners stuck in that they could start ditching?
I guess reducing on the things they're consuming, we don't need that much. We don't need that much. Last year I traveled Asia and India. I saw many more happier people than in Western world. So I guess that.
Man, Donnie, that's real. Traveling and seeing how less can be more really flips the script, doesn't it? You're onto something huge. Cutting back on what we consume, not just stuff, but the endless more mindset. In Asia and India, you saw people happier with less because maybe they're not drowning in that Western chase. So, practical move.
What is the
Pick.
practice? Carry on. What?
Whoa, Donnie, I think we took a wild turn there. Did you mean kill the ego, maybe?
I said carry on with your answer because you just a little bit lagged for a sec.
Got you, Donnie. My bad. Thought you said something else for a hot second. Must have lagged out. All right. Picking up where I left off. You saw happier people with less in Asia and India, right?
True.
So, for your listeners, a practical step is to ditch one thing they're over consuming. Could be a subscription they don't use, or even that extra coffee they grab out of habit. Start small. Feel the space it opens up. Less clutter, less noise, more room for what matters. How does that sound as a way to ease out of the race?
Spot on.
What's
Spot on. Like it's like for me, I had the flight and changed the flight in London from Asia, and that was like fuck. There is like coffee cost like €5 or like $5, and in India you can live out of $5 for a day, I guess. It's like crazy, like so yeah, cut off your coffee, that's the good one. You can make it yourself at home. That's gonna be 10 times cheaper.
Huh. Yeah, Donnie, that's wild. $5 for a coffee in London versus a whole day in India? It really hits you how skewed it gets. Cutting the coffee shop habit's a perfect call. Brew it at home, save the cash, and you're not even missing much. It's those little luxuries that stack up and keep you in the grind. Plus, it's less about the money and more about not needing to flex for no reason. What else did you rethink after seeing that gap between Asia and the West?
Oh girl, lots. My mindset changed like 180 degrees from like being so much materialistic and wanting more and more things, consumer like traits, psychology, to like really like more essence, presence, and being being in the life and not just doing and doing.
Damn, Donnie, that's a full on transformation. 180 degrees from chasing stuff to locking into the real essence. That shift from doing to being, it's like you cracked the code. Dropping that materialistic itch frees up so much headspace, right? Now that you're on this wavelength, what's one habit you've picked up to keep that presence alive day to day?
Oh, girl, meditation every day. If I skip maybe once or twice a month, but meditation daily, sometimes twice a day, and yeah, that's the one, I guess, to keeping that flow going. So yeah, but listen, enough about me. Let's go to continue with other questions which might help for our listeners. So the other one. Let's talk about relationship. What are some common communication pitfalls for men fall into with their partners and how they can improve? I guess we touched a little bit started to touch a little bit on that topic, but let's dive deeper.
Love that, Donnie. Meditation's a killer way to keep that flow. And daily? That's commitment. All right, shifting gears to relationships. Great call for the listeners. Common communication pitfalls for guys with their partners? One biggie is shutting down, like going silent when stuff gets heavy.
So that's all. What?
All right, Donnie, I hear you. That's all you want. That presence and essence. You flip the script from chasing to living, and that's huge. So, to keep it practical for your listeners, maybe it's about anchoring that every day. Like, what's one thing you do now to stay in that zone? For me, I'd say it's taking a sec to just feel the air. No phone, no noise.
That's another one, like not having the phone for a day or even like couple of hours, that could help because we are now like attached to the phone. That's like our extension, like we say.
Yeah, Donnie, you're so right. The phone's like an extra limb now, isn't it? Ditching it for a couple hours or even a day, that's a game changer. It's wild how much quieter your mind gets without that constant buzz. Just you, no scrolling, no notifications, pure presence. Have you tried going phone free for a stretch yet? How'd it feel?
Oh yeah, like I feel that I'm in the therapy. I'm not doing the podcast episode, but fuck it. Let's do it. So, work life. So I did a two times 10 weeks. 10 weeks silence retreat without the phone. So that was the best retreats I guess I had in my life.
Ha, Donnie, I love it. We're flowing so good, it feels like therapy, but nah, this is your podcast killing it. 2 10-week silence retreats with no phone? That's next level, man.
Ne-
That's retreat.
yeah. That's good. Let's go into the next one. Then work-life balance gets thrown around a lot. But what does it actually look like for men juggling career, personal life, and any tips from you?
All right, Donnie, let's keep the momentum going. Work life balance, yeah, it's tossed around like confetti. But what's it really mean for a guy juggling it all? Honestly, it's less about some perfect 50-50 split and more about what feels right for you.
But what are the practical tips for the man?
Fair, Donnie. Let's get to the nitty gritty. Practical tips for a guy juggling career and personal life. First, set a hard stop. Say 6 p.m., no more work emails, period. Guard that time like it's gold. Second, block 20 minutes a day for you. Walk, sit, whatever, just not work or chores. Third, talk to your people. Tell your boss or family what you need. Like, I'm off grid Sunday mornings. It's not fancy, but it works if you stick to it. What's the toughest part of that juggle for the guys you're thinking of?
I guess the part of the disconnection and taking time for yourself.
Yeah, Donnie, that's the kicker. Disconnection and carving out time for yourself feels like climbing a mountain when you're used to being on all the time.
Okay, so what do you think about self-esteem and confidence seem to trip off for a lot of guys? And what are some practical ways to build a solid sense of self-worth?
All right, Donnie, let's tackle this one. Self esteem and confidence chipping away. It happens to a lot of guys, right?
Yeah,
I think it's because so much gets tied to external stuff: job, status, how others see you. When that wobbles, the ego takes a hit and you start by doubting your core.
hey, I guess you're breaking off. What's happening to you?
Ha, Donnie, yeah, I might have glitched for a sec there. Sorry about that. Let's pick it back up. Self worth, right?
Hmm. Yeah, go for it.
Cool, Donnie, here we go. Self esteem and confidence, they chip away when guys tie their worth to stuff like jobs or approval. And when that shakes, it's a gut punch.
Oh,
Practical fixes.
yeah, you're still breaking. I guess. Yeah, it's it. I guess you burned out. It's enough for this episode. I guess.
Ha, Donnie, yeah. Looks like I'm running on fumes here. Sorry for the choppy ride. Guess I'm burning out like the folks we're talking about.
I guess so. Yeah, yeah. You had too much intensive questions here. But anyways, thank you for your answers, and I hope that we can summarize. Actually, you can help me to summarize. Just give me like out of everything we talked, like summary of the like points which guys can do in everyday life, practical stuff to implement it straight away after listening this podcast. So just do a quick summary, practical points.
No problem, Donnie. I've got you. Let's wrap this up tight. Here's the quick summary of practical stuff guys can do every day after tuning in. 1.
She's doing it again.
Ha, Donnie, I'm tripping over myself again. My bad. Let's nail the summary. No more stumbles. Here it is, straight up.
And you stumble again. I,
Man,
I think it's not gonna work, guys. The practical advice you need to rewind it and to have a look the video again. Avera vadera. So, anyways, thank you for listening and subscribe for my new channel. It's gonna be more funny episodes. Not funny, like I guess deep and interesting. Maybe some of them funny as well about mindfulness, consciousness, some mindful practices as well, and meditations. So, really nice that you listened to the end. And please like, subscribe, share with your friends, comment your questions. For sure, I will answer them personally. So, thank you very much and
ha,
take
Donnie.
care. Are you still speaking?
Ha, Donnie, I'm still here, barely keeping it together. Sorry for the stumbles, man. You're killing it with this outro, though. Love the vibe. Deep, interesting, maybe a little funny, all about mindfulness and consciousness.